Yeah.
Okay, gang, here we go. We are in week, I get the weeks confused. Week 13 was this? Yeah, 6 and 7. Week 13, flying high with the birds. Eagles talk. This is Eddie Munster with me, the Reverend.
What's up, boys? What's going on?
Not much, and obviously the Armenian Hammer, the star of the show.
Hi, guys. I don't know about that, but hi, guys.
Hey, he looks younger every day, don't he?
Yeah, he does.
Oh
Next time I'm going to bring a hammer with me.
Yeah, the Armenian Hammer, like they said at the wedding last week. But anyway, let's go over this game with the Jets.
Wait a minute. We're missing the Will.
Yeah, oh, that's right. We are missing, what is it? I forget what we called him.
Delaware Will, Goodwill Hunting. What is it?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a different name, but this week we're not going to have a name for him. Will, this is for you. It'll be the best podcast that we ever did because you're not on it this week. No, I'm only kidding. So, but anyway, let's go over this game last week. Eagles beat the New York Jets 33-18 to go to 6 and 7. The Mississippi Mustache, Gardner Minshew, takes over for Jalen Hurts, who was hurt with an ankle issue. He was 20 for 25 for 242 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 133 passer rating. As a team, this team ran for 185 yards, averaging 6.3 yards a carry. Jake Elliott with 4 field goals after being named Special Teams Player of the Month. What a year he's having. Miles Sanders runs for 120 yards before leaving with an ankle injury of his own, and we will certainly discuss his injury like he gets many times every year. Dallas Goedert with 6 receptions for 105 yards and 2 TDs, easily his best game as an Eagle. But also injuries played a big part in this game with injuries to Kelsey, Jason Kelsey, Sanders, and Steven Nelson all left the game. But with the upcoming bye next week, this could come at a really good time for this team to heal. And lastly, it just appears to me that Jonathan Gannon kind of took his foot off the gas and played very passively for the first half of this game. So we'll discuss that as well. Vahe, is there a quarterback controversy going on here?
I don't think so. I think basically it's Hurst, and when he's healthy and he's going to be back to quarterback. I mean, even though Minshew played well, but I don't think it's well enough to take away the job of a starting quarterback. And until something else happens, Hurst is still our starting quarterback. Hopefully, it's not going to be another stinker like the Giants game. But I don't think so. I think it's back to Hurst unless something dramatic happens.
I agree 100%. The other thing that I look at is Hurts has got a lot of he's a leader. He's got a lot of value in the locker room. If you go making quarterback changes, right now it might divide the locker room, but I'm with you 100%. Hurts is the guy when he's healthy. Minshew did a good job when he stepped in. But let's not forget, he was also playing against the Jets, who might be the worst team I've ever seen offensively and defensively. They're pretty bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing.
Which brings us to Gannon.
Yeah.
I don't know what was his game plan at the beginning, man. I was scared. I mean, they scored like 21 points. I said,
three straight
touchdowns. Well, I watched the game and they were playing very passively. Yeah, but let's just real quick, let's stay in this quarterback situation here. It's my opinion. Hurts absolutely should still be the guy, and I still think he's going to be a heck of a quarterback in this league. After watching that game last week.
Every week. Based on what?
He's still the guy, but he's a much better athlete than Gardner Minshew is. However, Minshew was doing things that Hurts struggled doing all year. And one of them was very quick release, reading through his progressions also. He did a really good job of reading through his progressions, and he didn't scramble out of the pocket and run real quick. And also, he was really good with his check down, something that Hurts really struggles with. Do you guys think that maybe like having Hurts watch this game, Jimmy? Do you think that maybe Hurts will like learn a little bit from what the way Minshew operated this offense last week?
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes the best thing you can do is take a step back and, watch it from the sidelines or the press box, whatever you want to call it, get a different view of the field. One thing that impressed me with Minshew was, he was his checks and he dumped it off to the running backs a lot. That's something that if Hurts can learn to do that, it's only going to add to the value of his game because he's got the ability to take off and run.
Yeah, no, I agree. But then you feel like Bahe, then you kind of feel that, Minshew doesn't throw the ball deep. He's all short to intermediate passes. The Jets didn't take away any of that. I mean, even the first time they went down the field and he kept going to his tight end and his running back, the Jets just did not blitz. They just didn't do anything. So do you think it was really the wrong defensive strategy or the wrong scheme by the defensive coordinator of the Jets?
Oh, I don't. I think both. I think they don't have the personnel, nor they have the coaching basically up to the job. And to be honest with you, I won't be surprised if Joe Douglas gets fired at the end of the season because he's been there for like a couple of years now, right?
Yeah.
They have nothing. And look at Zach Wilson. He was a second overall pick. And Matt Jones, was it like 15th pick? And coaching, man. Is Matt Jones better than Zach Wilson? I don't know. But the fact that basically it has an excellent coaching staff helping the kid versus Zach Wilson has nobody. So that goes back to the whole setup. Coaching staff probably sucks. Also, they don't have the personnel either.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And that's the second quarterback that Douglas took too, right?
Yeah.
That's the second time. And what's it, 2 quarterbacks in 4 years that he drafted?
Yep.
Something like that.
Yeah, but
what a difference coaching makes. Yeah, 100% right, Bob. It's, Mac Jones is in a perfect position in New England, and it just shows. He's the perfect game manager for that team. It reminds me a lot of, Brady when he was younger. Their defense is dominating games, and the quarterbacks, calling a good game. Whether it's running or making the right passes, they're doing a good job. It's just amazing what coaching does, putting the players in the right position to succeed.
Even though this is not our topic, but I was so impressed with Belichick yesterday, honest to God. The guy, he was masterful. The fact that basically he assessed the situation and put his quarterback, no pressure on the quarterback, just, run, and they won. And then McDermott at the end, he's bitching about the fact that basically we give too much credit for, Belichick. Well, he won the game in your own house. With a rookie quarterback, he came in and won the game. So that's what matters. And, just shut up and then move on,
Yeah, it's something when the texts were going back in our group text earlier, you guys had mentioned about, could you see Tampa Bay and New England being in the Super Bowl?
Oh, man. Oh, my God. That would be the ultimate game.
I've been joking around about that for a month.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if New England wins. Belichick will find a way to exploit Brady.
Yeah. He actually can exploit any type of player, but it makes you think, what would Mac Jones have been if he had been with the Jets? What would his development have been like?
Same thing as Zach Wilson, probably.
He'd be lost. Yep.
Yeah, I believe you're right. But Wilson seems to be the type of guy that wants to take everything on by himself instead of like trying to be a game manager and trying to make the right plays and, just being part of the team. Mac Jones is more like that, meaning that he was a much better fit for New England. I wouldn't be surprised if when Mac Jones fell to Belichick, Belichick was probably salivating when he had that pick available to him. It could not have been.
I think they traded up, right? Did they trade up to get that pick?
I don't know if
they traded up.
Yeah, they might have.
They jumped up because there were a lot of rumors before the draft that that's who he wanted, and I think I could be wrong, but I thought he traded up. I thought the Giants went back down, and and the Patriots traded up. I could be wrong though.
Yeah, no, I think you might be right. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball real quick. The Eagles gave up 18 points. They didn't score any extra points because the Jets kicker missed the first two, and then they missed a 2-point conversion. But they didn't do anything in the second half. But Gannon, I don't know. I mean, to me, it just seems like he played it like he played games 2 to 9, where it was just not aggressive. And I would have thought that he would have went after a rookie quarterback more than they really did. What do you think about that, Jim?
No, I agree 100%. They got to get their act together. You should be giving up 3 straight, scoring possessions to the Jets. If they just it missed assignments, missed tackling, it looks really bad. It really looks really bad at times. And coming down the stretch, you don't want our defense costing us games like it did in weeks 2 through 8.
Yeah, no,
that's what worries me. I mean, one of the exciting things, I don't mean to jump to the offseason, is what's this team going to do in the offseason? Are they going to look through the draft and improve the day where they're going to have a great opportunity like we talk about every week? Or are they going to address it in other areas? I mean, I, for one, would love if Hurts is the guy, I think you got to build a defense and a great defense and a good running game to support him. And what better way than with all this draft capital we have in the upcoming draft to load up on some defensive players? I mean, they can get an edge rusher, they can get a linebacker, and they can get a quarterback. Yeah, so they can do a lot in this draft.
I think that in an offense like the Eagles have found their identity. They always talked all year about where's our identity, where's our identity. In week 9, I kind of found it with their running game. I mean, the running game is just unbelievable. And I think the biggest reason for it is the offensive line is just so good at run blocking. So I kind of think that running back would not be a place that they would want to go to next year, whether it be in the draft or free agency, because I think a lot of running backs would just salivate with an offensive line like that.
We have 4 good running backs right now. I like what we have. I just hope Howard just compliments Sanders. He would compliment Sanders so well. So I really hope he's back after the bye. It seems like he's going to be. And that's going to be exciting to see.
Well, since we're speaking of running backs, Vahe, I'm going to bring this up to you with Miles Sanders. I mean, he's gotten injured every year, and this is his second injury, and it's obviously an ankle injury, same ankle. We don't know how he's going to be next week. The week is really going to help him for this bye week. But don't you think that this is going to affect him at contract time next year? Because his contract, he's looking for a second contract starting next year.
I don't know. I mean, the thing is that if I was Howie, I wouldn't give him a long-term contract. I just, tag him for a year and see what happens. Because the thing is, I think he's slowing down too. He's not the same dynamic running back that he was when he came out. And even though still, fast, but the thing is that with running backs, they always stop running as fast. So I wouldn't give him a long-term contract. And but I would make sure that Howard is still around. I think Howard is very, very important to the style of running that this team has, that pounding that they need. So I would keep Howard, give him, tag him for next year, and see what happens. And if he really proves himself that he's worthy, maybe you give him a contract after that, but not next year.
It's
contract next year too, right?
Who?
Sanders.
Oh
yeah, Sanders. I think is
so they don't have to decide anything. I mean,
they can wait. But he might be like, he might not want to go into that final years of lame duck. But yeah, he can wait. I'm with you for if it comes to it, you franchise him for 2023. I'm 100%.
Another thing, what the thing is that since we don't have a dynamic quarterback, I think the emphasis should be on defense. And to be honest with you, Gannon hasn't shown anything. So there's rumors that maybe Mike Zimmer from the Vikings will get fired because he's been there for a long time and he hasn't done anything. And he's a great defensive mind. So if he gets fired, maybe the Eagles should hire him as a defensive coordinator. And, with the next year's picks, focus on the defense, make it a very stud defense and have a good running game. And you're good to go. And then see what happens with, with Hurst. I think that's the formula for me to use.
There's no way that Gannon's going to be let go. He will definitely be the defensive coordinator next year. And I think he's going to learn a lot. I just got this feeling that the three amigos here, Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni, and Jonathan Gannon, I think will take a learning lesson from this entire year and come out of this much better coaches and players next year. I think Gannon really will be good. I think that he's going to learn quite a bit from his mistakes. I was just kind of taken back that they didn't go after Zach Wilson last week, and just blitz him like crazy. And just, it just seems like there was just too many opportunities for them to move the football in the first half. And I know that it seems like they made some changes in the second half, but it's still, they could have lost that game very easily if the Eagles offense wasn't generating much action.
Yeah, and we controlled the ball the whole second half. I think we had it the whole third quarter, but a minute and a half, then we had the ball the whole time.
Yeah, everything but for like 2 minutes.
Yeah, we controlled the clock for the whole quarter, which is great. It's a way I think the team's going to have to go, and I'm all for it. Load up on D. You can get your foundation players for the next 5 to 8 years in this draft. How often does that happen? Doesn't come along that often. Use these 3 picks, hit on them, and you have your foundation on D for the next 5 to 8 years. We have the offensive line still. We have the weapons offensively. We just have to fix the D a little bit. Devontae Smith's going to get better, and hopefully they bring back Howard. It's promising. The future they have a lot
And
of
they need a free agent wide receiver.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're going to keep Rigger or they're going to cut him. That guy is not saying he's a good blocker. But a first round wide receiver, I think you're talking about that he's a good blocker.
yeah.
He was on the field too for more of the snaps than when Devontae Smith too, because they were playing the 13 personnel. And I still can't believe they haven't benched him, especially after that punt. He let the punt go, and it went to the 1, and then the other one, he fumbled it, but he got a decent return on it. But still, he just looks like he's a deer in headlights. And
he's lost.
Wasn't a pick, he won't be on the field.
Yeah, he's totally lost. And if he was like a 3rd or 4th round draft pick, he'd be back on the practice squad right now. He's totally lost. I just don't see him being on this team. Maybe after next year, but because he's a 1st round pick, they're going to keep him as long as they could possibly keep him. But that's really going to affect this offense big time.
Right.
But that seems to be the thing. Now, let's just real quick on the defense. I think that the one position problem is the defensive line. They're not getting pressure. And that is a problem. And I'm beginning to think that is where they need to really look in the draft or defensive linemen. And I know this draft is not loaded with defensive linemen, but where is the pass rush?
Right.
Where?
No,
where is it?
Yeah, a lot of money in that line too.
Yeah. I don't even let's talk about Josh Sweat real quick. I know he's playing decent, but do you think that he's taking his foot off the pedal after he got paid? What do you think?
I was thinking that this week when he got that sack, those exact thoughts came into my head.
He backed right up into him. That's why he got that sack.
He didn't even see him coming.
Wilson didn't have a feel for the rush, and he backed right into him. And then what really bothers me is when you do that, whatever your thing is, he does that thing with the sweat where he goes like that after he makes a sack. But he's not playing that good. He's not getting a lot of pressure. He's not really that good against the run. He's nothing like he was last year. And, basically he was a good, he was a good guy to come in. He really wasn't a starter, but he was a very good reserve. And I think that Roseman just, took it upon himself to say, listen, this guy's really going to be with us for a long, long time and be our signature pass rusher. I'm not sold on him. I'm not.
No, I agree. I agree 100%.
But, that's the problem. I think the pass rush is the problem. And that might be what's really affecting, the play calling that Gannon uses for his schemes. So I don't know. So real quick, we're going to take a commercial for Kitchen World and we'll be right back. Is your kitchen or bathroom outdated or in serious need of repair? Since 1987, Kitchen World offers the latest in custom, semi-custom, and even stock cabinetry. Our designers offer the absolute best in custom design right down to the exquisite molding details. That's Kitchen World, with showrooms in Philadelphia, Bucks, and Montgomery counties. Call Burton to set up an appointment at 267-228-9875 or check us out at kitchen-worldinc.com. All right, so at the end of the game, we're back to our show. At the end of the game, before the Washington game really was underway, the Eagles, if the playoffs ended, or if the season ended right after the Eagles game, the Eagles would have been the last team in the playoffs. But then Washington won, and Washington right now is in that position. So the Eagles have a golden opportunity to really make some hay here because they got Washington, what I believe, after next week, 2 of the next 3 weeks, in the first games at home. Is there anything about Washington, and I'll start with you, Vahe, that kind of worries you when they come in here next week?
Well, they're playing much better than expected. And right now, that's going to be a really interesting game because this Sunday they play against the Dallas. And I'm conflicted. I mean,
you want Dallas to win.
I want Dallas to win. And but suddenly they're playing well. So I don't know whether they got lucky last week or not. But before, everybody thought they're going to win both games. But now looking at it, probably maybe one game max. I think they're going to split the 2 games with Washington. But yeah, I mean, playing well. They have a very good coach. And, so we'll see what happens. I hope they're going to lose. I hope they lose this Sunday. And coming into the Eagles, they will lose again. But
that would be beautiful.
Yeah, you're right, Vi. What a difference a great coach makes. I mean, look, he just gets, coach can change the whole culture of a team. The Redskins before looked like they were, nothing. And Rivera came in the middle of all that scandal crap, and they won the division last year. They're right there again this year. But it's going to be exciting. I mean, I think Washington has Dallas twice and the Eagles twice and the Giants once.
Yeah.
So it's going to be an exciting last 5 weeks of the year. I mean, I don't know if the NFL planned that on purpose with all these division games at the end of the year, but every game is going to be exciting for the next 4 or 5 weeks because they're all going to have playoff implications starting this week.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
I mean, also it goes back to the core issue with Jeffrey. He always tries to find this assistant from somewhere and try to make him a head coach and think that basically it's going to work out. The only time it worked out was, Sirianni is still the jury's out, but the only time it worked out was Andy Reid. That was it. So he has owned the team for, 20, 30 years now. And so the only one that was really successful was Andy, and that's it. Why don't you go and hire? Okay, coaches get fired all the time. Why don't you go and hire somebody who's been fired but has a good, good track record and make him your head coach instead of trying to find this gem from somewhere.
And he's got ties to Philadelphia. We pretty much got him on this coaching map. He was one of Andy Reid's disciples.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right.
So not to change the subject, but I got to get this in real quick. I got a text from your son-in-law. He told me to tell everybody it's Minshew Mania time.
Is he watching us? No,
I don't know.
No,
I
He's
certainly-
not.
I certainly hope he-
Minshew Mania time.
I certainly
Nah.
hope he's not smoking any of that stuff
Yeah.
right now that those people out there are probably have tried to sell
Nah.
him.
I
was
try to
gonna
be
say,
open-minded about this thing, but nah, Minshew is he doesn't have it. I mean,
I
Look-
think he's a very good
Yeah.
backup. He's a lot better than Glennon at New York right now. New York is probably flipping out because, they don't have Minshew and they have Glennon. Glennon is horrible.
And they might, he's not even playing this week. He's hurt. He's out.
No, the guy from Georgia's playing.
What's his name? Strom or something like that?
Jake Strom.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, he could end up being their quarterback.
They just got him from Buffalo, right?
Yeah, he was on their practice squad. They drafted him out of, he was drafted out of Georgia, I think in the 5th round, and he was on their roster last year. And he was just basically he ended up on the practice squad. So I think that he could make a major impact for the Giants. I think that's a very good pickup for them, and he's a very smart quarterback.
you know what the Eagles should do? They should have 2 people picking during the draft. For the first 3 rounds, have somebody else with the picking, and for the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, let Howie do it because
That's where he's good.
Very good.
you always find the gem in the 7th or 8th round, but always screwing up in the first 3.
Well, he always says he finds a gem in one of those rounds.
So let's have somebody else do the first round and the 2nd round, and then Howie can do the 8th or 9th or 15th round or whatever, or beat somebody from the community college.
That would really be funny. But then again, who knows? Whoever's the guy that picks the first 3 rounds, the owner's going to tell him who to pick anyway. So it really doesn't matter. But let's real quick. Let's go to Jason Kelce. He was hurt in the last 2 games. This game, he was hurt a lot more than he was in the Giants game, and it's his knee. Not much is being said, and they normally tell you the Wednesday before the following week where he's going to be. So I'm assuming that nothing's going to be said until, this time next week. But if he's not there, that could be a major, major loss for this team.
Yep. We saw what happened when Herbert came in on the first snap he did. Went right over
It's so
Minshew.
funny about Kelce. 2 years ago, I thought he was done because you could see sometimes because he's so small, he get pushed back.
Yeah, me too.
Like done over with. And man, he's so valuable to this team because the thing is that every time he goes out, they get a penalty or a wrong snap or something goes back. So obviously,
He's arguably their most valuable player, right?
well, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's a captain. I mean, he is the guy, and losing him would be major. And I think he makes Dickerson so much better. I know that probably I would say that Dickerson is the center in waiting for the, he's going to be a great center in the NFL for many years once Kelce retires, but I certainly hope that Kelce's not ready. I'd love to see him get a couple more years with this team. But let's talk Brandon. We talked about
It's not going to be good for Hurst, but God, he's 6'5".
Yeah.
I think the more this team keeps winning, it is going to want Kelce to come back more.
Yeah.
And it looks like they're heading in the right direction. So,
Well, the other thing is that they said they were going to have word on Brandon Brooks by the bye week, which is this week. So there needs to be given some information about what the hell is going on with him. I mean, he's played 2 games in the last 2 years?
Yeah.
Didn't he get hurt at the beginning of last year or in training camp? Was it in training camp or no? It was the first game, I think. So he's played 2 games in the last 2 years.
Well, last year he was Achilles heel, right? He had a rupture.
Yeah, and this year I think the first game it was a pec injury. So his Achilles should be in good shape now. But I guess a pec injury must be tough because you really can't work on your upper body until that's healed. So maybe that's part of the problem that he wasn't able to work out a lot. But
I don't expect to see him back this year. It just seems like they're not saying much. He hasn't played since the beginning of last year, and I just I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't know if he's really going to. You can expect anything from him this year. And then again, the line's playing really well right now too. So
yeah, but Driscoll's out for the season, and he was the guy really playing good. And now that if Kelsey's going to be out, I mean, they're going to need somebody else in there.
Right.
So I don't know. But I agree with you, Jimmy. I think it's possible he might be done for the year since they're not saying anything.
From what I saw yesterday, they had no comment on him. But I know for Kelsey and Howard, I don't know if they're just saying it, but they said it, they're expecting them to return after the bye, whether that's just hearsay or what. But
well, if they return, then if Kelsey returns, then everything is good. And listen,
and
he's the guy, but he is the guy that if they say, well, we're going to give you more information on Kelsey, you always feel like it's 99% that he's going to be good to go come game time. But he was hurt when he came off the field. He was hurting and he did not come back in at all. And that's not like him. He's like, after a series, he's itching to get back in there. He was not like that this time.
The one good thing is he walked off under his own power. Yeah.
And here's the other, let's stay with the injuries for a second. Davion Taylor, I think, is almost practice ready. So he's got a week. So there's a possibility that he could be back for the Washington game. And I think to some extent that the linebackers were kind of exposed in that game last week, especially in the pass game because of the intermediate success that they had with the intermediate routes last week's. And that's where Davion Taylor, I think, would really help them. So this probably is the best week for them to even have a bye for it to be this late in the season. All right, real quick, let's go to the predictions. Right now, Vahe and Jimmy are far ahead of anybody else. Vahe's got 4 wins. Jimmy's got 4. And myself and Will only have 1.
I thought Jimmy had 1 more than me.
I thought you had 4 and Jimmy had 4, unless it's 4-3. So
I have a 3 probably. I have 3 and Jimmy has 4.
All right, then it's 4 and 3. Okay.
Yep.
But anyway, this is who picked what. It's a good thing that Will isn't on because Will picked the Jets 17-10. And I'm really beginning to think that he purposely is not on here. And he may not be at dinner in Jamaica right now because he picked the Jets 17-10.
Well, he wanted to check for the record. Once he heard that Minshew Mania is hitting the Philadelphia, he wanted to change it. But I said, you're a commissioner, you have the ultimate right whether to allow it or not. So he wanted to just pick.
What I say is this: with that prediction, 17-10, the Jets, he should be wearing a bag on his head in Ocho Rios right now. So he probably isn't, but he deserves to have one on. And I'll go with the Whole Foods bag. I bet you they may have Whole Foods out there. I'm not sure. But anyway, I had Vahe had the Eagles 13-10, and I had the Eagles 20-14. Jimmy had the Eagles 28-17. They won 33-18. I guess Jimmy again.
The best differential.
He's got 5 wins, man. This is unbelievable.
Well, too bad my other bets aren't that
And
good.
is that he's not even an Eagles fan. Can you imagine?
Yeah, that's right. You're not even an Eagles fan, and you got 5 wins, for God's sake. So this is going to be
even a blind squirrel finds a nut.
I'll tell you what. I think I would definitely win if we did the predictions this week. For this week's games. I think I could win this week.
You guys want to pick another team, or we'll stick with the Eagles and take it?
Let's. Well, you know what? The first thing is, I don't know if we have a podcast next week, we're not going to be able to review a game. So maybe we'll just talk about the other teams coming up. But I think what we should do is, all right, I'll tell you what. Let's bet on the Washington Dallas game. Where's that game at?
Washington.
The game's at Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, it is in Washington?
Yeah,
Let me look it up real quick.
Yeah.
Let me look it up real quick. I think it is.
All right. I think it is in Washington.
Give me 1 second. All right, it's in Washington at 1:00.
It's a 1 o'clock game, so
1
we'll all be
o'clock
watching
game.
that.
Dallas, Washington.
Well, Jimmy, I'm gonna have to start with you because you won and you're ahead of everybody.
I'm going to go with the home team. I'm going to go with the Redskins.
What's the
I'm going
line?
to go with the Redskins. I want to make it interesting.
He's already cheating and looking at the line.
Oh, there you go.
No, the line was telling me basically which way the Vegas thing's gonna go. Did they tell you what the line is?
For
No.
the Washington, it's Dallas is -4. I have.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? Dallas is favorite.
They're -4. Yeah.
I'm gonna pick first. I'm gonna say Dallas 20-17. Jimmy?
What's that?
Yeah, Jim.
I took Washington. I'm going to go Washington.
Give me a score.
Oh, I got to do the score. Let's see. I picked Washington 27-24. Or you did 3-2, right? 27-24.
No,
I
I
think so.
did 2017 Dallas.
Okay, I got 27-24 Washington.
27. And what do you got, Valhay?
I got the Cowboys 27-10.
Wow.
Wow, look at that.
You know what? That's very possible because Washington's defense is up and down, this year. And their first round draft pick from last year, I can't think of the guy's name, the defensive end, he's out for the season. So even though he didn't have a great year.
Well, to be honest with you, I mean, the fact that basically Washington has been winning and the line is -4 for Dallas and Dallas wasn't playing well, it tells you basically it's not going to be a close game and Dallas is going to win. I thought it's going to be the other way around. I thought for some reason Washington would be at least point or two -1 or 2. But the fact is Dallas is a road team -4. Wow, that's a big line.
Yeah, it sure is. So, all right. So there are picks, and then we'll get Will's pick when he gets back. Oh no, yeah. I'm just going to have him. I'm going to text him.
Jim, he didn't text you a score.
No, because we just decided that we'll do the Washington Dallas game. So I'll text him tomorrow. And you know what? He's probably going to hear the podcast anyway. So, Will, when you listen to it, just text me a
Score.
Just me a score, and hopefully it won't be anything like what you predicted last week. So, any last minute thoughts before we close this out?
Well, I think the pressure right now is on Hurst because the thing is that everybody in Philadelphia is giving him a second chance, but he better not play the way he played against the Giants because otherwise people are going to be like all over him. And hopefully it was a learning experience for him. He learned basically is that to be, take his time, look around, second, third read, don't rush it and, try to play better. That's
It's going to be an exciting last 5 weeks of the year. I can't wait to next weekend already because it's playoff implications. Final 4 games starting next Sunday. All division games. Eagles pretty much control their own destiny. They win 3 or 4 or all 4. They're in the playoffs, right?
Yeah, I think they're going to win
3 or 4.
Yeah, I think they're going to win most of them, and I think Hurts is going to be the reason why they will. I think he's going to come back real strong, and I think he's going to play good. And what I will tell you this, what I really did like was it seems like these two quarterbacks are friendly with each other. When Minshew threw the first touchdown pass, the first guy to go up and congratulate him was Hurts. Hurts was with him, and then Hurts also let him have his time on the bench too when he was with the coach. So to me, Hurts has shown nothing but character, and I'm still pulling for him. I still think he's a great athlete who can be a really good quarterback, and maybe watching this game will show him things that maybe he should be doing better, like throwing those dump out passes. So, but that's.
Can you imagine the Eagles make the playoff and the Colts?
Yeah,
Eagles should send a thank you Christmas card to the Lions. I mean that really opened the door.
Well, here's a more amazing thing. Could you imagine if Hurts takes his team pretty far, and then they're in the playoffs, and then he gets hurt, and then Minshew comes in and takes him to the Super Bowl and wins it? Could you see the Eagles having 2 backup quarterback statues at the stadium?
Nah, I don't mean have that. I mean, yeah, no. I mean, I'm not really impressed with Minshew, to be honest with you. I mean, he's good, but he's not really that good. And it was the Jets, so
Yeah, no, that's true. But I think he's a very good backup. And I think if he gets hurt, if the starter gets hurt, I think that he could come back and do a really good job because he's got experience, and that's the big thing. And he's got a lot of guts too, and he's got moxie. That's what I like about him. So, all right, let's close this out. Week 13 under the books. Line high with the Birds. Eagles talk. We'll see you next week. All right,
Have
guys.
a good week, guys.
Yep.
Good talk.
hey guys.
All right. Take it easy.
Yeah.